because our society is just using more and more chemicals, we are being exposed to so many things that it's really hard for our bodies to deal with all of these toxins. And so if we aren't aware that these toxins exist and how they're affecting the body, it can definitely have a big impact.
Welcome to Get Pregnant Naturally, where functional medicine and natural fertility solutions will help you get pregnant and have your baby.
Hey everyone, I'm Sarah Clark, and my mission is to inspire, motivate, and empower you. Most of all, I want you to wake up. So with functional medicine, we can discover what causes infertility and eventually reverse the condition. Today, I'm welcoming back to the podcast Brandy Buskow, and we're digging into personal care products and the impact on fertility. So definitely check out episode number 6 for a functional medicine 101 talk, plus a look at some of the tools we use to help couples conceive. So Brandy's part of my team here at Fab Fertile. She's an integral part of our couples coaching program, which uses functional lab testing, diet, and lifestyle changes to dramatically improve conception. So if you're struggling with infertility, your body is desperately trying to tell you something. And focusing on your health will either help you get pregnant naturally, or if you do need to go to the fertility clinic, it will improve your chances of success. So Brandy's a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, certified transformational health coach, and EFT practitioner, so emotional freedom technique practitioner. She loves supporting women so they can learn how functional medicine addresses the underlying cause of disease or illness. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Hey, Brandy, excited to have you back on the podcast.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So today we are going to be digging into environmental toxins. This is something that we discuss with our couples coaching clients all the time, looking at environmental toxins. And in this episode, we're specifically going to be digging into the personal care side of things. So we're just going to talk about the different stressors. When we talk about stress, a lot of times people just think about the mental emotional side of things, but really, so there's the mental emotional side of stress on your body. There's environmental toxins, which we're going to talk about today. There's food sensitivities. There's gut infections, and then there's structural stress. So if you've got an alignment. So as far as stress and how it impacts the body and fertility. So Brandy, what's your take there?
Yeah, so I mean, you kind of mentioned some of the other stressors that we talk a lot about and we've done previous podcasts on. But the one with environmental stressors encompasses so much of our life because it's impossible for us nowadays to avoid chemicals in our environment. But there are things that we can do in our everyday lives and in our homes that can really have a big impact. And because our society is just using more and more chemicals, we are being exposed to so many things that it's really hard for our bodies to deal with all of these toxins. And so if we aren't aware that these toxins exist and how they're affecting the body, it can definitely have a big impact, especially with regards to fertility. There's a lot of chemicals that are found in personal care products that are tied to things like birth defects, or can have an effect on sperm production or on the hormones in little girls. So it's really, really important to be aware of these, especially, with the demographic that we're talking to right now, people who are wanting to become pregnant, because this is the time where if you can clean up your environment and the chemicals that are coming in your body, it's going to have a big impact on your children and your children's future.
Absolutely. And so the average woman uses 168 different ingredients and 12 products a day. So she's exposed to all those different chemicals on a regular basis. And I guess we don't even think about some of these things as to when we're leaving the door that we've been exposed to these chemicals.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot. But if you think about it, I mean, you wake up, you wash your hair, there's chemicals in your shampoo, you wash your body. So if you're using something like a body wash or even a bar soap, there's chemicals in there. Most women condition their hair. And then after that, there's, you have to style your hair. I mean, even for me, I was pretty minimalist, but I still would, put in a leave-in conditioner, which is full of chemicals. And then you're putting on a face cream and perfume and makeup and deodorant, all of these things just to get ready and get out the door. If you really break it down and you start looking at the labels of all of those things, there are so many chemicals in all of the products that we're using, and it does have a big impact and a big burden on the body. And it especially affects our liver. So whenever you're putting something on the skin, it actually absorbs into your bloodstream really quickly, because the skin is actually our largest organ. And then it's the liver's job to then get rid of all of the toxic chemicals that are in these products that you're putting on your skin. And if it's being overburdened day after day with all of these chemicals, it's going to struggle to really keep up. And so, just thinking about all of the things that you use on a daily basis, and just take the challenge of go into your bathroom and flip over all of these products and just look at all of the chemicals that are listed on the products that you're using.
Yeah, and women use an average, as they're saying, 12 products with 168 different ingredients, and men use an average of 6 products with an average with 85 different ingredients. And so we recommend to go to the Skin Deep database. You can Google Skin Deep database. I'll have it in the show notes as well. And you can get your product that you're using and just enter it in there, and it'll give you a rating as to how toxic it is.
Yeah, and they have a nice feature. If you download it on your smartphone, Android or Apple, you can actually scan the barcode on the products that you are using, and it will give you a rating and tell you how it rates in terms of the chemicals. So it's even easier. You don't even have to type it in. If you just want to use your phone, you could do that and scan the barcode, and it'll tell you, what on a level of 1 to 10, how toxic is the product that you're using.
Yeah, so like we were talking about, so these toxins are linked to cancer, infertility, skin allergies, birth defects, reproductive problems, learning disabilities.
Yeah, there's so many other things that it can definitely be linked to. I mean, those are just a few of the things that people, are linked to personal care products and the chemicals in personal care products. It's just something that we don't think about.
Yeah, I like this stat here. So 60% of what you put on your skin is absorbed by the body. And then beauty products, so 70% of beauty products made with organic label contain 70% certified organic ingredients, which means the other 30% have toxins. So a lot of times when we're looking at those made with organic label.
Yeah, and they can put that on there even if there is like one ingredient that is organic. They can put on the label that it is organic. There's no regulations in the U.S. and in Canada really that regulates these producers to disclose all of the chemicals that are in their product, and it also doesn't regulate what they are allowed to say and not say on the front of their packaging. So it can be really misleading if you look at the front of a package and it says organic, but then you flip it over and maybe it has organic coconut oil on it and then a whole bunch of other toxic ingredients.
Mm-hmm. So we'll just give some more stats here. So 82,000 are the number of ingredients used in makeup and personal care products. And there's industrial chemicals, and they pose health hazards. So 82,000 chemicals or ingredients.
Which is a lot. Yeah.
It's insane when you think about it. You're like, really?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then 10,500 industrial chemicals are used as cosmetic ingredients, including carcinogens, pesticides, reproductive toxins, endocrine disruptors, and more. So 10,500 industrial chemicals. And yeah.
Yeah, well, and some people will think, well, really, industrial chemicals? But a lot of the chemicals that are used are considered industrial, and they have been linked. They're used, similar products are used in pesticides. A lot of them have been linked or deemed carcinogenic. And a lot of these chemicals, they interrupt reproduction because they're reproductive toxins, they're endocrine disruptors. So just a lot of different chemicals. It's actually kind of scary, the amount of chemicals that are out there that are allowed to be used.
Yeah, and so FDA's Cosmetics Ingredient Review Panel has rejected only 11 ingredients as unsafe in cosmetics, while the European Union has banned hundreds of chemicals in cosmetics.
Yeah, and this is a scary statistic that I don't think very, very many people are aware of. So the U.S. government has not passed a federal law with regards to the beauty industry and chemicals that can be used in the beauty industry since 1938.
Yeah.
So that's a really long time. Like, we're coming up almost on 100 years since they've passed a law that has regulated the beauty industry. And unfortunately, I mean, we're both Canadians, but Canada isn't much better. There's a few more ingredients that Canada bans, but nowhere near as many as the European Union. So this is a really big problem. And a lot of times we feel as though the government is protecting us, but when it comes to beauty products and chemicals and beauty products, they really do not. And there's not very many laws out there, and actually they don't have a lot of jurisdiction. So that's why, you know, it's really important to be aware and be informed, and you know, put your money where your mouth is, and use your dollars to vote and buy the things that you want that don't have as many chemicals, because that's going to start sending a signal to these other companies that need to change their practices.
And I like this thing. It says, so all it takes is 26 seconds for the personal care products to enter your bloodstream. Yeah, what do you think about it?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, the skin is our largest organ. So, you know, a lot of times we don't really think about that, but that's why you will see sometimes like pain patches. So people who deal with pain disorders, if they've tried all of the oral medications to deal with pain, the next solution would be a patch. And the reason patches work is because it gets absorbed into the bloodstream that much quicker, and it bypasses the digestive system. So it's actually almost works better than something that's oral. So something to think about. You know, the other way to look at it is when somebody's trying to quit smoking, what do they use? They use a nicotine patch, because that nicotine patch has nicotine. You put it directly on your skin and it gets into your system a lot faster to quell the craving. So if you've ever tried to quit smoking, you know, and you've used a patch, you know how quickly that can work. So that can just tell you how quickly chemicals can be absorbed into our skin and into our system.
And so and we'll put a link in the show notes to this, but basically there's a list of ingredients to avoid. So 12 toxic and carcinogenic compounds found in beauty and skin products. So we'll just kind of go briefly through these 12.
Yeah, so I mean, there are quite a few, and some of them I won't be able to pronounce, but there's two in particular that I really want to point out because they have such a big impact on fertility. So those are phytates, and phytates have been known or been associated with birth defects. It definitely has been associated with the ability to decrease sperm count in boys. And it also has been contributes to or has been associated with early development, so early hormonal development in girls and boys. And so phytates are some of the chemicals that we find in plastics. And there was a lot of talk about getting rid of BPA, and so everybody's doing BPA-free plastic. The problem is that they switched it to a different chemical that's just as bad, but we just don't talk about. And phytates are found very, very commonly in beauty products. And so that one is a really big problem.
Can you spell that one?
Yeah, sure. So it's PHTHALATES.
Okay, yeah. Awesome. I thought it wasn't it?
Sorry, phthalates. Phytates and phthalates.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. Another one that is really, really common are parabens. Mm-hmm. And you'll notice, like, you can look at any product and flip it over, and you'll see some form of paraben. It might be methylparaben, butylparaben, ethyl paraben. And these are really known for being hormone disruptors. So it's a chemical that actually interferes with hormone signaling, and so can definitely have an impact on your fertility. And like I said, parabens are a very, very common ingredient in personal care products.
And I think we're becoming more educated on this, or the consumers demanding that some of these big toxins like phthalates and parabens are removed, because you'll see, I think I saw something for a Clairol commercial the other day, or it was something, it was like no parabens, no phthalate, but then what else is in it? So they're saying these main things aren't in it, but then what are the other chemicals that are still in that conventional product?
Yeah, so I mean, they're putting these, again, it's the whole label issue, because there's no regulation. They can put whatever they want on the label, so it makes it seem like it's an amazing product. So they may not have parabens, but they may have a bunch of other chemicals. And so some of the chemicals, and like Sarah said, we'll include that in the show notes, but some of the other big chemicals to look for in personal care products are things like benzoyl peroxide. So any of those things on the skin, or acne treatments, those sorts of things. Chemical called DEA. Dioxin is another common one. DMDM, so that is a preservative that is a derivative of formaldehyde. It's pretty common. The colors, so F, D, and C, colors and pigments. This is where you're going to find these a lot in makeup, like eyeshadows and lipsticks and stuff like that. A lot of those pigments are really high in heavy metals. So we don't think about that, but for instance, if you're getting something that's really rich in red, so like your red lipstick, it's going to be really high in something like cobalt, which is a heavy metal, and you don't want to have high amounts of those. So that's another one that's really common in personal care products. We mentioned parabens, PEG, which is polyethylene glycol. That's a really common one. I think if you look at most products like skin creams and shampoos, you'll see that commonly in those products. The phthalates, which we talked about, propylene glycol. So propylene glycol or butyl glycol, that's really common in personal care products. SLS, or sodium lauryl sulfate, that's the product that creates the suds. Yeah. So if you've ever tried to switch to a natural care products, I remember the first time I tried like a natural shampoo and I used it in my hair and it was like SLS free, and I really didn't know what that meant. And I was washing my hair and it didn't suds up. I'm like, this isn't working. It's not sudsy. But it still does work. It's just manufacturers add that in there to give you the illusion that it's working better than something else, and it's creating all of these suds. And SLS is used in industrial things like car washes, garage floor cleaners, engine degreasers. Like, that's a chemical you don't want in your personal care products.
Yeah, it's linked to eye damage, depression, labored breathing, diarrhea, skin irritation, and death.
Yeah. So it's it's one of those things where, again, it's really understanding the chemicals and flipping over that package and looking at them. We'll just cover like two other quick ones and then we'll move on. But another common one is triclosan. So I think more and more people are starting to know about triclosan. There's been a lot of talk lately because this is one of the products that is in the antibiotic skin, I'm blanking on the name of it. They'll put it in like the antibiotic hand washes.
Oh, the antimicrobial. Yeah, those.
Yes. So you'll go into a hospital and they'll make you like put your hand under there so that you can disinfect your hands before you go into the hospital. So there was a lot of products on the market that had triclosan in there. The problem is that it's a synthetic antibiotic, and it actually can cause problems because if we're constantly using products with triclosan or an antibiotic in it, it could set us up for instances where we might come across antibiotic resistant pathogens. And so it is a real problem. And there have been studies showing that it's really not necessary to have triclosan in your hand lotion or to wash your hands. I mean, just good old warm water and soap is enough to clean your hands really well. So that's another product which I think is starting to phase out a little bit more. And then the last big one is sunscreen. And so this one, we could probably do a whole podcast on sunscreen about the problems with sunscreen, but there are a lot of chemicals in sunscreen that have been shown to be carcinogenic. And so that's why it's really important to really look at the sunscreens that you're using, because sometimes some of the chemicals in there have actually been linked to DNA damage, which then is linked to cancer. So another one to be aware of. And
I think I just saw an advertisement too for I think it was it Coppertone, saying that they don't have parabens or phthalates in their sunscreen. But what else is in the sunscreen?
Right.
Yeah, and then also the phthalate exposure has been linked to early puberty in girls, risk factor for later life breast cancer as well. So all that makeup and cosmetics. And then I think, so this is what I'm talking about here with seeing some of these commercials. So this greenwashing, so basically, which is disinformation that's disseminated by an organization so as to present as an environmentally responsible public image.
Yeah, this is really common, and greenwashing doesn't just happen on personal care products. It happens on cleaning products. It happens on food products. I mean, it's a really, really big problem. So, I mean, how many of you have gone to the store and read something that says hypoallergenic or environmentally safe or allergy friendly or fragrance free? I mean, those are all things where you're like, okay, well, that sounds good. Sounds like this is a good product. But those terms are actually not regulated. So there is currently no specific government or official standards for these terms. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, considers these phrases to be too vague to be meaningful. So this is something that I grabbed from the FTC's website. And so they are not regulated, and companies can use these words and it really doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, allergy-friendly fragrance, fragrance-free.
Yeah, so some of the other things to talk about, like with fragrance-free, so a product might be made with essential oils instead of synthetically made fragrances, which is great. You know, it's like, okay, well, it's whenever you see the word fragrance, you have no idea what chemicals are in that fragrance. That's a really big problem because they don't need to disclose all of the chemicals that go into making that fragrance. So a lot of times you'll be like, okay, it says fragrance free and it uses essential oils. That's awesome. This is a good product. The problem is that just because they're using essential oils, you have to look at everything else. They could be using SLS, like we talked about. They could be using the FD&C colors, so the pigments to put color into the product. They could be using dioxin or DEA. So that's why it's really important to flip over that container and read the ingredients.
Yeah, and even non-toxic. So non-toxic does not mean non-toxic or not harmless. So it could be safer, but there's still other things could be in there that could be impacting the health.
Yeah, and so it's just, there's so many things to know, like non-toxic, like here's a good example, like I used the coconut example before. So you might see something on there saying non-toxic derived from coconut oil, which that is deceptive because cocamide, which is one of the chemicals from coconut oil, could be also, you need to use DEA to get the cocamide from the coconut oil to use it in your product. And so a lot of these manufacturers aren't getting rid of the DEA. They're still using this toxic chemical DEA to get the cocamide so that they can say it's derived from coconut oil, but that doesn't make it good for us because we're still getting chemicals in the product, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and then again, that advertisement where I saw no parabens, so free of. So watch if they're hyping what's not in the product. So it could be no parabens, but maybe they're substituting it for other chemicals. So if it's no parabens, they could be substituting. So for ethanol.
The BPA example, I think, is the best example to use here because we see so many things now because BPA was such a big problem that everything that we see is BPA free, but they had to replace the BPA with something to still make it a plastic product. So they're still using another chemical that really hasn't been tested for long-term use, and it's not any better than BPA. So it's a really misleading term.
And certified green too. It's another one.
Yeah, certified green. I mean, there is no certifying body. I mean, again, they'll use different things like certified by or and a lot of times there really is no certifying body that's checking these products to certify that every product in there is safe for your use because there's no regulations for it.
And same with organic.
Yeah, I mean, the only time that exception to that rule is, and you're not really going to see this on cosmetic products, is going to be more on food products. If it says USDA organic approved, I mean, that does have to go through some regulations, right? Or something like, non-GMO project, that is a certified label. But again, you're not going to see that very often on beauty products.
So with that, really, it's to, and we're not recommending you throw everything out you have right now. It's as you finish the products that you have, then replace them with a one that's low, or a one on the Skin Deep data. Is it 1 or 0?
I mean, it's really depending. Like, let's say, for instance, we'll start with shampoos. Let's say you seek your shampoo and you go into the Skin Deep database and you see your shampoo is a 9. Well, when you run out, try to switch it. I mean, a 5 is going to be better than a 9. I mean, ideally, the lower the better, but we also understand, and that's one of the problems in the industry, is that, sometimes products that are rated as a 0 or a 1, their performance isn't that great. And that I mean, that is a true, like, that does happen. Anybody who's tried to switch their products will tell you they've tried several different brands and several different products to try to find something that works for you, works for them. So, I mean, if yours was a 9, if you could get it down to a 5, you're making progress. So it's not about perfection. It's not about throwing everything out. It's about, okay, I'm going to see what everything I have, what do they rate? And as I start to need to replenish my product, I'm going to look for something that's better, that has a better score on the table, or on the Skin Deep database.
So now we're just going to talk about some of the products that we like. And again, this is so individual, because it could work for me and then it could not work for others. So I have got, like everyone probably says, I have like super sensitive skin. Everyone usually says they have sensitive skin. So I have tried a whole whack of these different natural skin products and finally settled on Juice Beauty. And I like that one. I use their anti-aging line because I need it. Yeah, I really I like they have eye cream and cream for a day cream and a night cream, and then a little serum. So I like that. So yeah, so I like Juice Beauty. Anne Marie Skincare can be good. I think you've used that one, Brandy.
Yeah, I've tried a couple of their products, and it's a really, really good brand, really good quality.
Yeah, a lot of people like that one. For me, it didn't work as well, but a lot of people have great success with that. Nature's Gate is the one I like for shampoo. What do you like for shampoo?
So I've tried a bunch of different ones. I've tried the Nature's Gate, and I really do like that one. I actually use Beauty Counter, so you'll notice that a lot of my picks are Beauty Counter. We could talk about more why I choose those, but yeah, the Nature's Gate is a good product for shampoo and conditioner.
Yeah, and toothpaste, I like Jason. I tried a whole whack of natural toothpaste. I just felt like within 2 hours, my teeth were literally filthy. Anyway, so I finally found Jason, and it just gives it that I definitely like that one. They have a whitening one and they have a strengthening one. So yeah, I used to have really sensitive teeth and was using Sensodyne to, because I couldn't even drink cold waters or anything would touch there. And when I switched to the natural toothpaste, the sensitivity in my teeth actually has almost gone.
Yeah, it's amazing how that works. I mean, there's a lot of different ones out there. Our family uses a lot of the Tom's of Maine. Some of them aren't the best of the best, but it works for us. Some of the other toothpaste that I've tried that I actually really do like is Dr. Bronner's has a toothpaste. They have a mint toothpaste. I really like that one. And I've also used Redmond's Real Salt. They do salt, but they also have personal care products. And one of the things they have is a toothpaste. And I've tried their toothpaste. It is a little salty, but it works. It works really well. It keeps your teeth feeling really, really clean. So I do like that one as well.
And then deodorant. This is something that we're always talking to our couples in our coaching program, because trying to switch out deodorant is like, oh, wait. I remember, because I had major allergies to deodorant for years and was always trying to find one. I think I used Dove for like years, and I had this huge rash on my armpit, and I would like go around it because I couldn't find anything else that worked. And all those natural ones, they did not work for me. 2 hours later, I'm like, who is stinking? Oh wait, it's me. So I have finally found, after all of that, Dr. Mist, and it's basically just a little spray, and that one works for me. And there it is, sea salt and magnesium. And then if you get kind of in an extra stressful moment, you might need to reapply. But in general, it's been pretty good for me. And what about you?
I've tried so many. So I'm one of those people where even when I was using conventional deodorant, I could only use Secret. If I used anything else, it gave me a rash, like red and raw, or it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So I'm one of those really sensitive people with deodorant. And a lot of the natural deodorants use baking soda as one of the things that helps deodorize. And it's for somebody who has sensitive skin, that can actually be a really big problem. It'll work for a couple of days and then you'll get really red and raw. So anything with baking soda does not work for me. And I finally was able to find the thing that works for me is a charcoal-based deodorant. Oh. So the two that I really like is there's one called Piperway, Piperwai. So that's a charcoal-based. That one works pretty good, but the one I love the most is actually the one from Primarily Pure Organics. Mm-hmm. They have a couple of different ones. I've tried their geranium, their blue tansy, and their charcoal, and all of them are amazing and they work really well, and I don't have any issues with sensitive skin. And the charcoal is the best one if you're going to be doing a lot of sports or the summertime. That will mask your odor all day.
Yeah, I haven't tried that one yet, but it just keeps coming up. More people I'm talking to, everyone's talking about Primarily Pure. So yeah, definitely take a peek at that one. So Beauty Counter. So I've used some products from Beauty Counter, and I know you like a bunch of their stuff. So maybe just talk about how you came to find them and why you like them.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not super into like performance of beauty products and stuff. Like, I'm pretty basic, but the reason that I like Beauty Counter is they're a very transparent company. So it was created by a mom who was looking at the personal care products, realizing how many chemicals were in them. And then as she dug deeper into more research, she realized there are no regulations or laws or governing bodies surrounding beauty products. And she was tired of putting chemicals into her kids using the Johnson & Johnson's baby soap. So she went on a mission to create Beauty Counter, and they go along with, they're really big on advocacy. So they started their company on March 4th. And so every year they call it March 4th, where they go to the Capitol Hill to talk to Congress, to talk to their Congress people, to really lobby for updated laws and regulations. And they're also doing the same here in Canada. In fact, just this past week, a lot of members of the Beauty Counter team went to Parliament Hill to lobby MLAs and MPs about regulations in Canada. So that's one of the biggest reasons why I really like Beauty Counter is they're really big on advocacy, and they're very transparent about their products and what they use. And they do use some chemicals, but they do a lot of third-party testing to make sure that it is free of endocrine disruptors, it's free of heavy metals, and it is higher end, but it lasts a long time, and their products are really high performing. So a little bit of a pitch about Beauty Counter, but I really love their products and I really love the company and what they stand for.
Yeah, we'll have a link for Beauty Counter too in the show notes. And then, okay, so soap. So for, again, years I was trying to find a soap that worked for a body soap, because every other one gave me rashes and flared up eczema. And so basically now I've settled on an unscented Castile soap. I would love to have a scent, but for some reason, even if there's, it's a natural or a good product low on the Skin Deep database, we'll say, not natural, it still would make me itch. So Castile soap unscented, that is the one for me. Anything you use?
Yeah, we are the same. So we use Dr. Bronner's. We've used lots of different types of Castile soap, but Dr. Bronner's is the best. And my husband and I have been using Dr. Bronner's as our body wash for 11 years now. Like we like the almond, and then we get the mint Dr. Bronner's, and we actually use that for our soap dispensers for washing our hands at all of our sinks in the house. And we get a foaming dispenser and we use that, and it works great. I mean, I wouldn't change. There's no reason to. It's inexpensive and it works really well.
Yeah. And then, so you like living libations for skincare too?
Yeah, so Living Libations is another, they've got a lot of different options. What I like about them is they also have the options for clean perfumes.
Hmm.
So I don't tend to use a lot of perfumes, but if I were, I'd probably go to Living Libations because they will make their own and they use a lot of essential oils. So really clean. And then they also have lots of other handmade, homemade skincare products, toothpaste, tooth powders. So if you're really looking for something that's like handmade, homemade, really, really clean, that's a really good option. And they've got really good prices.
And I love perfumes, but I've switched over to Lotus Way. So Lotus Way, WEI, and they're little mists. And I have they're all with like really cool. So the company is basically that's flower essences. So they have flower elixirs you can actually um, consume, and then they also have these fragrance mists, which you need to apply maybe 3 or 4 times throughout the day. But and I have 5 or 6 of them and you just get a nice feeling for each. They have ones called Game Changer, Truth Teller. So those are really good because I like a little fragrance. I'm a little more high maintenance, I think, than Brandy, but I'm not like super high. Like maybe that's bad. Probably my husband would be like, okay, the fact that you said that you're now not as high maintenance as you think you are, then maybe you really are high maintenance. But no, I definitely like to have, I'll use makeup and perfume and all that. So a little more with some of the products. So definitely for me, this is something, the personal care thing, it took me, I got the food nailed down and switched over organic and gluten-free and corn-free and dairy-free. But for some reason, the personal care thing, it took me years to switch it all over. Okay, so then another one I like is shea butter. So I use Moya shea butter. It's a really good friend of mine. She has a shea butter business that's all certified organic and fair trade. And so Moya, Moyaa shea butter. I really like that one. Nail polish, Cote is a good one. Making sure, the nail polish stuff. I think isn't nail polish, there's flame retardant. Like there's all sorts of things that are in nail polish that are
crazy things. And this is one that I think a lot of women will have trouble switching to. There's even a lot of people in the health space that will do everything but their nails, like they'll still go to the salon to have their nails done. But you could still do that and then lessen your burden by bringing a product like Cote nail polish. And you can easily get it in most health food stores. They have a lot of colors. You can order it online. And that one's a really good brand to use.
Yeah, and some of those nail salons too, inhaling all of those toxins. There's a person that's around here, a local owner, and he was diagnosed with cancer. So you're inhaling all those toxins anyways, and they're wearing masks and stuff in there. And then sometimes you can't even go in there because the places are so, the toxins are so harsh. I've switched for foundation, Josie Moran. So it's with argan oil or argan oil. Argan oil, and it seems to work. And as I say, a lot of foundations before it would, because my skin's sensitive, it just would flake right off and wouldn't work. But this one is very moisturizing, and I'm enjoying it. Another good one for nail polish removers pads would be, and I haven't tried this. I'm not sure. Have you tried this one? Cutex non-acetone polish remover pads?
I haven't, but I know that they are pretty low on environmental working group, so it's a good option to look for. If I were to use them, that's probably what I would look for.
And then hair dye. So full disclosure, I have not switched over to a non-toxic hair dye. My hair is gray, and I go in every 4 weeks. So and so there's different options for this though. There's henna, there's Eco Colors, Christian S, and Tins of Nature.
And actually, and Sarah, I think you're going to share the link in the show notes, but there was a really good investigation into hair dyes and chemicals. And so we'll share the link on that article that kind of lists, I think there's 10 or 12 kind of cleaner options for hair dye that you can look into. So you can take a look at that article and see why hair dye is a problem, and then options for things you can look at as an alternative.
And there are organic salons. So I did go to an organic hair salon for a while. Just the cost was double. So in fact, especially that I've got to go every month because the hair is gray, it just became just way too crazy expensive. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's something that I need to dig into. But again, it's not about being perfect. You do the best you can and make the switches as you see fit, and also has to make sure that it works out financially for you as well. But the fact that I'm every month putting all those toxins on my head is probably really dumb. So, as you're going to say, you do the best you can. Anything else, Brandy, you wanted to share?
Yeah, I just wanted to, because this is a question that I commonly see pop up when it comes to foundation, is a lot of people will use like a mineral-based or like bare minerals or something like that, and they're touted to be really clean. The problem with those is that a lot of them are actually really high in things like bismuth, which is a toxic metal. And so those aren't the best options. So definitely take a look at the environmental working group and, play around and try different things. And like you said, Sarah, don't throw everything out today. Yeah. Just like slowly go through their transition, and it can take time, mm-hmm. but every little incremental step that you take to kind of take that heavy burden off of your body to deal with all the toxins, it goes a long way to improving your health.
Yeah, like we talked at the beginning, those different stressors on your body. So looking at the environmental toxins and starting with personal care, and then there's cleaning chemicals, your water, all sorts of other things. But looking at your personal care, because you say your skin is the largest organ, and just doing the best that you can. And so definitely go to that Skin Deep database, and you can check to see what your current personal care products are. And if you want to let us know your favorites, a lot of people have some good recommendations. Maybe you have some ideas for me something to do about the hair. So anyways, thanks so much for coming back on the podcast, Brandy, and talking about another one of our favorite topics, environmental toxins.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you for listening to Get Pregnant Naturally. Seriously, it means the world to me that you're here. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can be notified of upcoming episodes. I'm excited to offer you a special gift. If you're a U.S. resident, text Fertile to 345-345. You'll be prompted to enter your email address, and you'll receive our Fertility Yoga download. In this 20-minute intro video, we focus on a calming and peaceful practice to connect back to your heart. These simple fertility yoga poses can help quiet negative thoughts and make you feel more in control. Download it now and get started today. So for U.S. residents, text Fertile, Fertile, to 345-345. For non-U.S. residents, go to www.yogafreebie.com to access your special gift. That's www.yogafreebie.com to access the free fertility yoga download. And I love this quote by Dr. Mark Hyman, Medical Director of the Cleveland Clinic Center for Functional Medicine and Chairman of the Institute for Functional Medicine. Functional medicine is medicine by cause, not by symptom. Functional medicine practitioners don't in fact treat disease. We treat your body's ecosystem. We get rid of the bad stuff, put in the good stuff, and because your body is an intelligent system, it does the rest. Thanks for listening. Until next time.